I'm going to play a game. And it's going to be a new podcast called The Games We Played. I did look around. There was one that called The Games We Play. But this is played. Because they're all going to be like older games. I might play some newer games every once in a while. And I'm going back to Nintendo days. First podcast I'm going to start off with was a game that I started off with. Now, I did play like the Apple II computer, and it had like Jeopardy and Family Feud and stuff like that on there. But, were they really games? Yeah. Of course, then I played a game, it was like called Mousetrap or something like that, where you just hit the arrow keys going around a maze. Yeah. Games were awesome back when I was little. And then first game system, game console I got was a Nintendo, which is right here. This wasn't my first one. Yeah, we won't get into why I don't have that. But and then I put the game in there, and what I didn't know was, here's a story. So you had to push the game down when you put it in. This game worked when you just pushed it in. I didn't get another game for like a year, and I kept thinking it didn't work. And I can't get no other games to work for months. And then I went over to somebody's house, and they pushed the game, and I'm like, you can do that? So, Christmas, 1985-ish, 86, I don't know. Then I hit start, and I was like, oh, me and my sister could play. So, the bad thing is about the way I have this hooked up is I can't hear it. Because it's going straight to my USB, which is only playing on OBS. So you can hear it. I can't. Oh, there we go. So it started up. I was like, okay, well, I can jump. I don't know what this other button does. It's like, oh no. And then, of course, I died when I first did it. But I learned. And then, boop. I like to do cool stuff. That was a cool thing back in my day. Then I found out eating a mushroom, you can jump. Or eating a mushroom, you get bigger. You can break stuff. Now, you can go down this, but I choose not to. Because I like to get an extra life. And this is what I always try to do. Jump backwards. Because he always did that. I don't know. I was special. Of course, everything I'm doing I didn't do when I was little. I didn't find out till later. Ah. Woohoo! Ah. Of course, then later I found out you can hit B to run faster. Ah! Dun. And then when it gets under 100 seconds, it starts getting faster. Now, I always heard stories about people jumping over the flagpole. I've never done it. Never seen it. Oh, the fireworks. Supposedly, if you end in 3, there's 3 fireworks. 6 fireworks. 9, there's 9 fireworks, and you get extra points. I don't know if that's true or not. No. Alright, so I'm starting the podcast part of this podcast. start the podcast of the podcast for the podcast, the podcast. The first part was me playing a little bit of the game, kind of talking about it. I talked to you about how I had started playing consoles, more or less. And now I'm going to talk more about the game of Super Mario Brothers. Let's get started. So it's Mario.Nintendo.com. So instead of www, it's got Mario. Alright, so let's see. Wikipedia says Super Mario Bros. A platform game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES. The successor to the 1983 arcade game Mario Bros. And the first game in the Super Mario series. It was first released in 1985 for the Famicom in Japan. Following a limited US release for the NES, it was ported to international arcades for the Nintendo Versus system in early 1986. The NES version received a wide release in North America that year and in PAL regions in 1987. Players control Mario or his brother Luigi, which you saw me in the one-player mode. I was playing Mario, and was it two-player mode? You played Luigi? I think they were both Mario. I don't remember. I think they were both Mario. Or his brother Luigi in the multiplayer mode as they traverse the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue Princess Toadstool from King Koopa, later named Bowser. Well, I thought his name was Bowser Koopa. Because he's King Koopa and his name is Bowser. I didn't know. They traverse side-scrolling stages while avoiding hazards such as enemies and pits with the aid of power-ups such as the Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, and Starman. Now, the power-ups, like the Super Mushroom, that's the one where I grew taller and could hit bricks with my head. Fire Flowers, where I turned into the red and white Mario and shot fireballs. Like in the, like whenever I was playing that first level and I was shooting fireballs, that was the red and white Mario. In the Starman, that was where I became invincible. That star that was bouncing around. Got that. Got invincibility for 10 seconds? I don't remember. The game was designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka as a grand culmination of the Famicom team's 3 years of game mechanics and programming, drawing from their experiences working on Devil World and the side-scrollers Excite Bike and Kung Fu to advance their previous work on platforming athletic games such as Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers. The design of the first level, World 1-1, serves as a tutorial for platform gameplay. Yeah, I played all those. Excite Bike and Kung Fu. I played some Excite Bike. Oh, yeah. And Donkey Kong. Yeah. Super Mario Bros. Is frequently cited as one of the greatest video games of all time and is particularly admired for its precise controls. It is one of the best-selling games of all time, with more than 58 million copies sold worldwide. It is credited alongside the NES as one of the key factors in reviving the video game industry after the 1983 crash and helped popularize the side-scrolling platform game genre. Koji Kondo's soundtrack is one of the earliest and most popular in video games, making music a centerpiece of game design. The game became a multimedia franchise, including a long-running game series, an animated television series, an animated feature film, a live-action feature film, and an American animated feature film. It has been re-released on most Nintendo systems. Mario and Super Mario Bros. Have become prominent in popular culture. Now, I think I saw that the soundtrack actually is in the One of the Hall of Fames. I can't remember which one. So there's stuff about the gameplay. Oh yeah, players may start with a certain number of lives, may gain additional lives by picking up green spotted orange 1-up mushrooms, hidden bricks, or by collecting 100 coins. Defeating several enemies in a row with a Koopa shell, or bouncing an enemy successfully without touching the ground, Mario loses a life if he takes damage while small, falls into the bottomless pit, or runs out of time. The game ends when the player runs out of lives, although a button input can be used on the game over screen to continue from the first level of the world in which the player died. Now, when there's, I think it's level 4-2 when you're down underground, there's some stairs that a turtle goes down. And you could jump on it. So the first time you jump on it, the turtle goes into a shell. The second time you jump on it, you kick it. But if you aim it just right on those steps, what happens is it just keeps jumping. And if you saw whenever I was jumping on two enemies either at once or separately, it was like the first one was 100, the second was 200. If I would have kept on, it would have been like 400, 800, or whatever. I can't remember. But after you do it so many times, you just start getting lives. And you can jump on that duck or turtle, and it'll just keep hitting the side and keep jumping and keep coming back. But your dude is still jumping. So when the turtle shell's kicked and bouncing around back and forth, you can actually jump on it again and stop it. And then jump on it again to kick it again. So what happens when he's on the edge of the steps is you're just constantly jumping up and down and never hitting the ground. You're just constantly just jumping up and down. And so that's how you get a lot of lives. And the game actually glitches whenever in between stages, or if you die, it'll show number of lives, and you saw like times 3, times 2, times 1. It'll say number of lives, and it'll be weird symbols. And that's when you get a lot of lives. Oh yeah, when you kick a turtle shell, you can hit other enemies. Let's see. The game consists of 8 worlds with 4 sub-levels called stages in each world. The final stage of each world takes place at a castle where Bowser is fought above a suspension bridge. The first 7 of these Bowsers are false Bowsers, who are actually minions disguised as him, whilst the real Bowser is found at 8th world. Bowser and his decoys are defeated by jumping over them and reaching the axe on the edge of the bridge, although they can also be defeated using a fire flower. The game also includes some stages taking place in the water which contain different enemies. In addition, there are bonuses and secret areas in the game. Most secret areas contain more coins for Mario to collect, like whenever I was going down those pipes. Oh, sorry. Like when I was going down those pipes and getting all the coins, those are some of the secret areas. But some contain warp pipes, which I showed you in the video. And if you're listening, sorry, you can go on my Twitch and see it. That allows Mario to advance directly to later worlds in the game without completing the intervening stages. After completing the game once, the player is rewarded with the ability to replay the game with changes made to increase its difficulty, such as all Goombas in the game being replaced with Buzzy Beetles, enemies similar to Koopa Troopas who cannot be defeated using Fire Flower. So, just reading. Now, the game was designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Suzuka of the Nintendo Creative Department and largely programmed by Toshihiko Nakago of SRD Company Ltd. The original Mario Bros. Released in 1983 is an arcade platformer that takes place on a single screen with a black background. Miyamoto used the term athletic games to refer to what would later be known as platform games. For Super Mario Bros., Miyamoto wanted to create a more colorful athletic game with a scrolling screen and larger characters. A side-scrolling gameplay of racing game Excitebike and beat-em-up game Kung Fu Master, the latter ported by Miyamoto's team to the NES as Kung Fu, were key steps towards Miyamoto's vision of expansive side-scrolling platform. In turn, Kung Fu Master was an adaptation of the Jackie Chan film Wheels on Meals. While working on Excitebike and Kung Fu, he came up with the concept of a platformer that would have the player strategize while scrolling sideways over long distances, have above ground and underground levels, and have colorful backgrounds rather than black backgrounds. Super Mario Bros. Used a fast-scrolling game engine Miyamoto's team had originally developed for Excitebike, which allowed Mario to smoothly accelerate from a walk to a run rather than move at a constant speed like in earlier platformers. Super Mario Bros. Was made in tandem with The Legend of Zelda, another Famicom game directed and designed by Miyamoto and released in Japan 5 months later, and the game shared some elements. For instance, the fire bars that appear in Mario Castle levels began as objects in Zelda. I did not know that. I need to move. Alright. And so they used Mario Brothers because of the sales figures. The team chose Super Mario Bros. After implementing the Super Mushroom power-up. The game initially used a concept in which Mario and Luigi could fly a rocket ship. While firing at enemies, but this went unused. The final game's sky-based bonus stages are a remnant of this concept. The team found it illogical that Mario was hurt by stomping on turtles in Mario Brothers, so decided that future Mario games would definitely have it so you can jump on turtles all you want. Miyamoto initially imagined Bowser as an ox, inspired by the Ox King from the Toei animation film Alakazam the Great. However, Suzuka decided he looked more like a turtle, and they collaborated to create his final design. Yeah, because the power-ups are the mushrooms. That's why they named it the Mushroom Kingdom. Now, Miyamoto denied rumors that developers implemented a small Mario after a bug caused only his upper half to appear. So he denied that. Miyamoto said the shell-kicking one-up trick was carefully tested, but people turned out to be a lot better at pulling the trick off for ages on end than we thought. So, they knew about that little trick. Other features, such as blocks containing multiple coins, were inspired by programming glitches. That is cool. Didn't know that. Now, the game was developed for a cartridge with 256 kilobytes of program code and data and 64 kilobytes of sprite and background graphics. Due to this storage limitation, the designers happily considered their aggressive search for space-saving opportunities to be akin to their own fun television game for competition. For instance, clouds and bushes in the game's backgrounds use that same sprite recolored, and background tiles are generated via an automatic algorithm. Sound effects were also recycled. The sound when Mario's damage is the same as when he enters a pipe. I didn't think about that. That is right. And Mario jumping on enemies the same sound as each stroke when swimming. I didn't think about that, but yes, that is correct too. After completing the game, the development team decided that they should introduce players with a simple, easy-to-defeat enemy rather than beginning the game with Koopa Troopas. By this point, the project had nearly run out of memory, so the designers created the Goombas by making a single static image and flipping it back and forth to save space while creating a convincing character animation. After the addition of the game's music, around 20 bytes of open cartridge space remained. Miyamoto used this remaining space to add a sprite of a crown into the game, which would appear if the player's life counter as a reward for obtaining at least 10 lives. Ooh, okay. Nintendo sound designer Koji Kondo wrote the 6-track score for Super Mario Bros., as well as all the game's sound effects. At the time he was composing, video game music was mostly meant to attract attention, not necessarily to enhance or conform to the game. Kondo's work on Super Mario Bros. Was one of the major forces in the shift towards music becoming an integral and participatory part of the video games. Kondo had two specific goals for his music: to convey an unambiguous sonic image of the game world, and to enhance the emotional and physical experience of the gamer. The music of Super Mario Bros. Is coordinated with the on-screen animations of the various sprites, which was one way which Kondo created a sense of greater immersion. Kondo was not the first to do this in a video game. For instance, Space Invaders features a simple song that gets faster and faster as the aliens speed up, eliciting a sense of stress and impending doom, which matches the increasing challenge of the game. Unlike most games of the time, for which composers were hired later in the process to add music to a nearly finished game, Kondo was part of the development team almost from the beginning of production, working in tandem with the rest of the team to create the game's soundtrack. Kondo's compositions were largely influenced by the game's gameplay, intending for it to heighten the feeling of how the game controls. Wow. It was actually released in Japan on Friday the 13th of September 1985 for Famicom. It was released later that year in North America for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The exact North American release date is debated, though most sources report it was released in October as a launch game when the NES had a limited release in the US. Several sources suggest it was released between November 1985 and early 1986. The arcade port for the Nintendo Versus system debuted in London in January 1986 and was released in other countries in February 1986. The first version of Super Mario Bros. To receive a wide international release, and many outside of Japan were introduced to the game through the arcade version. The NES version received a wide North American release later that year, followed by Europe on May 15, 1987. So I'm thinking it's probably 86, 87 when I got mine. Hell, it might have been 88. You never know. Oh, in 1988, Super Mario Bros. Was re-released along with the shooting range game Duck Hunt as part of a single ROM cartridge. I guess it was 88 when I got it, which came packaged with the NES as a pack in-game, as part of the console's action set. This version of the game is extremely common in North America, with millions of copies of it having been manufactured and sold in the United States. In 1990, another cartridge touting the two games as well as world-class track meet was released in North America as part of the NES Power Set. It was released on May 15, 1987 in Europe, and during that year in Australia as well. In 1988, the game was re-released in Europe in a cartridge containing the game plus Tetris and Nintendo World Cup. The compilation was sold alone or bundled with the revised version of the NES. Oh yeah, there was a game and a watch, or a handheld LCD game under the same name was released as a part of Nintendo's Game & Watch line of LCD games. Yeah, they came up with a bunch of different stuff. Several modified variants of the game have been released, many of which are ROM hacks of the original NES game. Speed Mario Brothers is a redo of the original Super Mario Brothers with the exception of the tile change, and the game was sped up 2 times. It was released on Ultimate NES Remix on the Nintendo 3DS. I wonder if that's what that guy was doing. Super Mario Bros. 35. It was a 35-player Battle Royale version of the game released in 2020 that was available to play for a limited time for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. Okay. Oh yeah, the All-Stars. That came out on the Super Nintendo, and it had the Lost Levels. I think it had Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 on it. Oh, I forgot about the Negative World. I kept hearing about. Did I ever play that? It's an unbeatable glitch level present in the original NES release. World 1-2 contains a hidden warp zone with warp pipes that transport the player to worlds 2, 3, and 4, accessed by running over a wall near the exit. As the player is able to exploit a bug that allows Mario to pass through bricks, the player can enter the warp zone by passing through the wall and the pipe to world 2-1 and 4-1. We instead transport the player to underwater stage labeled World 1, -1. The stage's map is identical to worlds 2-2 and 7-2. Upon entering the warp pipe at the end, the player is taken back to the start of the level, thus trapping the player in the level until all lives have been lost. Although the level name is shown as -1 with a leading space on the heads-up display, it is actually World 36-1, with the tile for 36 being shown as a blank space. The minus world bug in the Japanese Famicom Disk System version of the game behaves differently and creates multiple completable stages. World -1 is an underwater version of 1-3 with an underwater level color palette and underwater level music, and contains sprites of Princess Toadstool, Bowser, and Hammer Brothers. World -2 is an identical copy of World 7-3, and World -3 is a copy of World 4-4 with an underground level color palette and underground level music, and does not loop if the player takes the wrong path, contrary to the original World 4-4. After completing the level, Toad's usual message displayed, but Toad himself is absent. After completing these levels, the game returns to the tile screen as if completed, and is now replayable as if in a harder mode, since it is higher than World 8. There are hundreds of glitch levels beyond the minus world. 256 worlds are present, including the 8 playable ones. What? Which can be accessed in a multitude of ways, such as cheat codes or ROM hacking. What? 256 worlds? And there's only 8 that you play. Okay. So, apparently they got Super Mario Brothers got an anime, comic book. I think it's got a comic book. Is it a comic book? anime film. I'm pretty sure it's probably got a comic book. I don't know. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, the television series that ran from 1989 to 1990, starring professional wrestler Lou Albano as Mario and Danny Wells as Luigi. Super Mario Bros. Was adapted into a pinball machine by Gottlieb, released in 1992, and became one of America's top 10 best-selling pinball machines of 1992, receiving a gold award from the American Amusement Machine Association. Now, of course, this started a lot, because Mario actually started out as Jumpman, which I'm surprised they didn't say that. But he was in Donkey Kong, and he was helping save the princess. They don't say that on here. Am I making stuff up? I'm pretty sure I'm not making stuff up. That's just a story. It could be a rumor. I don't know. But it didn't say that anywhere. Huh. You had Mario Brothers for the regular NES, along with Mario Brothers 2, Mario Brothers 3, and then Super Nintendo came out with Super Mario World. I think so. Or was that the Nintendo 64? No, that was Mario 64, I think. I could be remembering stuff wrong. If I'm lying, I'm sorry. Not lying on purpose. So, there you go. And then, of course, then they came out Wii, and Mario Brothers on that. And they're probably still coming out with Mario Brothers games. Mario's old. You'd think he was retired. Here's the game. Super Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers 2. Mario Brothers 3. Mario Kart 8. Okay. Super Mario World. Mario 3D World. Bowser's Fury. Mario 64. Super Mario Run. Super Mario Brothers 35. Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels. Game & Watch. Super Mario Brothers. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Paper Mario The Origami King. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo. I forgot they did something together, and that's 2 different game systems. Super Mario Maker 2. Super Mario Odyssey. Mario plus Rapids Kingdom Battle. Mario Sports Superstars. Super Mario Maker. Puzzle and Dragons Z plus Super Mario Brothers. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Super Mario 3D World. New Super Luigi U. New Super Mario Brothers U. Paper Mario Sticker Star. New Super Mario Brothers 2. Mario Tennis Open. And Mario O. Oh, Mario Kart 7. Where's the other 6? It's not on here, but okay. There's a lot. And there's a lot more, probably. Alright, so number of installments, 49. 21 main, 6 related, 14 ports, 9 remakes, and 2 compilations. I think I got enough for maybe a short and sweet podcast, or maybe a long podcast. I don't know. Well, there's 35 minutes that I went live, so it's going to be a short and sweet one. So, until next week, have fun playing the game.